We're in an onion field in the Imperial Valley, and this area uses the largest share of the Colorado River. And there are questions about what's going to happen as this shortage on the Colorado River means that there is now much less water to go around. So what happens in this area? How much of the farming can continue? How much of it may be curtailed to save water and prevent the reservoirs from hitting those crisis levels? And that's what's in play right now. How much the Imperial Valley can contribute in terms of water to prevent these reservoirs from hitting super low levels that threaten water supplies for the entire region.
Imperial Valley has been farmed, since 1902, and it was one of the first major water users in the lower basin of the Colorado River. Once it was established, they kind of never looked back. It just continued to expand and grow. It's a very productive area. We're able to grow 12 months out of the year because of our very temperate winters and our warm and hot summers. One field can produce upwards of 3 crops a year. So we can rotate multiple crops. Having the ability and access to the Colorado River is what's grown and produced this area. Without Colorado River coming here, this would be a dust bowl, dried up, and there'd be nothing here. It would be uninhabitable. And that's the reason why this area staked its claim to the Colorado River so early. And now it's being put on the senior water holders that we have to be the ones to rescue the juniors that have a lower priority in order to make sure that we don't get to dead pool. Dead pool being when the water level drops below the ability for the water to get out from behind the dam.
My grandpa came down and applied to get 160 acres back in the early teens and 20s. It was probably 1914 that he came to Imperial Valley. They came out in the late 1800s in a covered wagon. They started small farms, they started dairies. As an immigrant, they started with something that was their own. So looking back, you see the old harvesters, you see the old balers, you see the way of life that they went through, the struggles on 160 acres. Now, of course, we farm 3,000 to 5,000 acres with in air-conditioned tractors and that type of thing. We knew that the lakes were declining. We knew that. I'm sure Department of Interior knew that. The river is oversubscribed by quite a lot. I think they deliver 14 million acre feet a year. And this year's runoff was like around 6 million acre feet. 6 or 7 million acre feet, something like that. So, we're shipping out much more than is being replenished from the snowpack and rain and storms and that sort of thing. Simply, it's oversubscribed. If the river's only bringing in 5 to 6 million a year and they're doling out 14 to 15 million a year, it doesn't take long to realize that you're gonna run out of water. And so we all need to do our part in conserving. But since we have senior water rights, you need to do it right. The Department of Interior realizes you can't treat everybody the same. We've used our water, we've built our families, our generations of farming here for the last, 100 and whatever years, 120 years. And to ask us to give up our water when you have junior water rights holders that have been in business for 30 to 50 years, it doesn't work. And if we need to maybe use less water and help the entire system, then we need to be compensated for our costs. Arizona should be cut way more and sooner than we should. And they took the water when it was plentiful and agreed. So they have to do that. The West is arid. This is liquid gold right here. And that's the issue.
We're at a stage right now where the Colorado River water issues aren't, they're not something that might come. They're here, they're present, and us Imperial Valley farmers are seeing them every day. This year was when we really felt it because we were kind of, put on restrictions, so we had to, a lot of farmers couldn't get an extra cutting out of their Sudan or alfalfa just due to the fact that they might have not had enough water left in their allocation to water back those crops.
What's the story of this field and what you decided to do with it this year?
At the end of the day, you know, we love feeding the nation, but we also have a business to run. And it's not feasible for me to be playing a guessing game when it comes to if I'll be able to finish and harvest this crop at the end of the season. So last year, this field right here employed around 120 farm workers, you know, from the time of land preparation to harvest. So those are 120 employees that aren't going to be here on the farm working and, you know, making a wage. You know, it affects not only me, it not only affects, you know, production down the line, and it also affects the Imperial Valley residents that are involved in agriculture and that work on the farm. We're following Ben, and Ben and Body Third. We're going over to one of his fields. I believe they're laying down sprinkler pipe right now. You know, as I said, a lot of farmers have started, you know, implementing and putting as much sprinkler systems on their ranch as possible, kind of, you know, as another preventative, as another way to conserve.
I figure they have probably 2 more days setting this, but we'll irrigate half the block. And we'll start this for 48 hours on this side. They still need to set up the main line that runs at the whole head end of the field, the pump, the filter system. In about the last 4 or 5 years, we've started using sprinklers for some of these longer term crops like sugar beets. Before we didn't. It was just too expensive. But now we've been transitioning to where we're trying to irrigate or start all of our crops with sprinklers.
And the short story is you're using these sprinklers because they consume less water.
Yes. I can't say an exact number, but you're reducing your watering 15 to 20% with some of these longer term crops using the sprinklers. And then just for stand establishment in the beginning of the crop too, there's a lot of benefits there.
This area uses a lot of water. There's a lot of flood irrigation still, and there's a lot of alfalfa grown, including alfalfa that goes overseas. When people talk about the ability to save water in those areas by reducing forage crops that would otherwise go overseas, or, you know, how do you view that?
It's still a business at the end of the day. We can't farm for free. If it was easier to grow lettuce and stuff like that here, yeah, we would grow that. You know, if you know, say minimum wage is as high as it was, you know, we would grow less water intensive crops. We're just limited on what we can grow here. And just, you know, one of the things, alfalfa just grows the best here.
And it sounds like your overarching interest is that you want to keep farming. You want to keep producing food.
It takes a special kind of breed to be able to manage an operation like this. You know, like Ben here, he's been here for 3 generations already. You know, he has a lot of family roots and history here in the Imperial Valley. And, you know, he cares about it just as much as I do. You know, we love doing what we do. And we love working with the people we work with. It's a family around here. But we're facing a threat. And we need to do something about it. Because it's here, it's knocking on our door. And you know, there's just more to come.